So I've been thinking about making this video for a really long time. I see people commenting on social media that they never see creators talking about the reality that we can't ever heal from childhood trauma. So in this video, I want to talk about what I have healed, what isn't healed, and what's the difference between the two. First of all, I've had a lot of childhood trauma. My dad ran me over with a flatbed truck when I was 2, right across my middle. I was mauled by my grandparents' Australian Shepherd when I was 5 and had to have plastic surgery, including 36 stitches on my face and my throat because of it. My mother didn't have the emotional capacity to soothe the baby, and I felt that impact before I was 2 years old. She used to refuse to comfort me. She often laughed at me when I was in pain. She screamed at me, physically abused me, and terrorized me from the time I was an infant. My dad never protected me and exposed me to inappropriate sexuality from infancy. I was raised in an oppressive religious organization that didn't allow me to honor my own feelings in favor of absolute loyalty to the church. I was sterilized by the fertility doctor who was supposed to help me conceive. I adopted 2 kids, one at age 27 months, who turned out to have severe mental health issues and needs 24/7 supervised care in a facility. The second was 10. She never attached to me and has led a dangerous life, and even at one point plotted to kill me so that she could get my youngest child's Social Security benefit. On top of that, I had a close family member die in the Pentagon on September 11th in 2001. I left my parents' home and married a guy who was just like my mom. I endured 14 years of horrendous emotional abuse while I pretzeled myself into every shape I could to try to win his love, until I realized that nothing I could do would make him love me. So, second husband, 6 years, physically, financially, and spiritually abusive. He threatened suicide after accusing me of having an affair when I refused to listen to him because he's my husband and God said I have to, and I wouldn't be intimate with him. I knew he'd threatened to commit suicide if I asked him to leave, and it turns out that he decided to leave on his own and then threatened suicide. I was in a major car accident that totaled my truck, and the insurance adjuster said that the person sitting in my seat must have had a guardian angel because the entire side of the truck was smashed, except for the bubble around the door where I sat. Third husband was emotionally absent, financially non-contributing, and sexually exploited. I tried for 11 years to make a deeper connection with him and say a hard no to the things that he exposed me to. But it took me recognizing that he'd never do the work necessary to change himself into a caring, emotionally supportive spouse before I left that relationship for good. There was a lot more trauma than I've listed here that contributed to my trauma history, but I just want to show you that it was a pretty heavy pattern of trauma for 52 years of my life. As a result of that, I also struggled with an eating disorder from the age of 12. I didn't get treatment until I had a life-threatening situation when I was 18. That led to therapy with a sex therapist, I didn't know that, who exploited the situation and later lost his license because of the way he interacted with teens and young women in his practice. I also struggled with excoriation from early childhood, at least from the time I was 7 until I was about 30 years old. So during the whole time, beginning about 36 years ago, I started trying to figure out how to heal and how to stop repeating the patterns of abuse that I exposed myself to every time I connected to someone that was new who wasn't safe or healthy. It all started when I realized that my brain, what I now call my trauma brain, played tricks on me, making believe that my real-time experiences were the same as past traumatizing experiences. And I also realized along the way that my relationship skills matched the abusive situation I grew up in. So I had to shift my relationship skills and habits away from what was unhealthy toward more healthy ways of relating with other people. So I started paying really close attention to myself. And whenever I had a response internally that felt big, like big anxiety or fear or self-criticism, I started assuming that this was related to my upbringing and that my trauma was encouraging me to continue to treat myself badly or to be afraid in situations that weren't dangerous for me. Truthfully, it made me really upset, and I thought it wasn't fair that I should suffer so much because of a situation I was born into. I'm sure you get that. But I'm an INTP, if you're familiar with Myers-Briggs, and I just had to figure out a way to fix the eating and self-harm behaviors that came out of my trauma. And I also had to figure out a way to change this puzzle piece inside me that seemed to always draw me to people who would hurt me. So I studied myself and my responses really intensely, and I studied them with my clients too. And finally, I broke the code. I figured out how to stop my triggered responses and stop being triggered by those same things. So I'm not afraid of dogs anymore. I don't overeat because of emotions. I don't make myself bleed. I can set healthy boundaries. When I'm afraid of something, I can look at it and find the source and heal it in myself. Those fogged out moments when my thinking brain goes offline and my trauma brain takes over don't happen very often anymore. And when they do happen, I can usually catch it and correct it pretty quickly. I have a sense of humor about it because that zoned out, scared, super sensitive to stress reality is no longer part of my identity. That's what's healed. What isn't healed? I still grieve because of the loss of my family of origin sometimes. But I'm able to keep that boundary because it isn't the healthiest for me to deal with them. Sometimes I still experience a triggered response, but I'm able to quickly resolve it and heal the response so it doesn't happen again. And I have ongoing health issues. My thyroid suffers because of years of restricted eating and overexercise. And my kidneys are also getting treatment because years of trauma brings stress to the body that lead to physical consequences. Yeah, and I'm not a jazz pianist or soloist. I might have been if I'd had support at home. I have few close relationships because I've learned how to end relationships that are hurtful to me, but I haven't built a lot of truly close, trusting relationships. I still sometimes get anxious and overthink things when I should be sleeping. And I never really learned how to manage finances, and I still struggle with the impact of financial stress that comes after more than one divorce. But after all of this vulnerable sharing, I need to tell you this. I'm happy with my life today. I have a beautiful relationship with a very loving partner, and I've got a gorgeous, sweet, loving mini Australian Shepherd. My life is good. And while it's true that creators don't talk about what isn't healed, I just did. And I'm happy with where I am in life today. Healing is possible. You either believe it or you don't. My truth tells me that people who have hope for healing will hear my message of hope, and those that don't will continue to feel comfort in the belief that I'm doing something wrong by saying you can heal. And that's okay with me. I'm Tamara Ridge, the therapist that's been there. Yep, healing is possible. I'm here if you choose it. Thanks for listening.